Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Tuesday night Zoom call. This call is for the coaches on our team that are rocking it and really want to make a difference in people's lives. Tonight, we are so excited to have Ron Goelz, who's my sponsor, on the call. You know, we are not in this business alone. I know we work from our homes. We can work anywhere by ourselves, anytime we want, but we really are part of a bigger team. And Ron, I wanted you to meet Ron because he's part of your sponsorship team, your mentorship line. He is my mentor. He's your mentor. And so many things that I teach, learn, experience come from him. So he's been a great blessing in my life, and I know he will be in yours. And I just wanted him to get to know you guys and you know him. So last week, we did as I've been telling my group, I listened to this podcast called Entrepreneur on Fire. And I love the questions he asked these entrepreneurs. So I kind of gave Ron a little bit of a list of questions. I gave him a little heads up. But I'm going to kind of fire some questions at Ron. And I know he's going to ignite, inspire us, and really get us going. So if you have any questions and you want to ask Ron, just put it in the chat, or I'll open it up for questions. We'll just talk for about 15 minutes, and then we'll open it up for questions. So Ron, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yay. All right. So
Ron,
how did you get into coaching? What decision did you make to become a coach?
I guess the biggest thing for me was, I had tried dieting all along and would gain and lose and gain and lose. And when Dan introduced me to this program and he said I could try it for a month, I was ready to do it. And I really was very, very successful. I was determined. And he guided me all through it. And when I started losing 25, 30 pounds and people started commenting, I got excited and people started asking me. And, so I called Dan and I said, Dan, people are asking me what to do. And he said, well, Ron, why don't you become a coach? And I said, well, Dan, I've never been a coach before. He said, well, the exciting part here, Ron, is you just have to help people do what you've been doing and having great success with. I got it. I could do that. And that's what really motivated me to do, because it was such a transformation in my life. And with Chris, this program, it was Dan, but it was also Chris. That was a great asset to me. She was on the program. She lost 29 pounds in 9 weeks, and she was making donuts at Public Supermarket. So for her to come on board and help me, my story, 70 pounds. I was a stripper before, a furniture stripper. Because I would have been a Clydesdale, not a Chippendale. But I lost 70 pounds in 5 months. I got off all 6 medications. I haven't had a pill in over 10 and a half years. And I kept my weight off. In fact, January 25th of this year was the 10th anniversary of keeping the weight off. And it's just been absolutely powerful. And by being a coach, and the accountability factor is wonderful. So when you hear the number, people that become coaches have 500% more success rate than the regular, client. It's true because we talk about integrity, we talk about accountability, and I guess I've always tried to have that. In any business I did, that was very important to me. I've always been in service-oriented businesses and working with people, and I just like it. So it's just for me, I had to learn some things, but it was basically finding out what they want. So I don't know if that's a long.
That's perfect. That's perfect because you're always finding out what other people want. I love that. So one thing, it's funny, but Ron's been a big mentor to me, and Ron plays tennis every morning, and then he swims every afternoon. And yet whenever I call him, he's always available within an hour. Either he's available or within an hour. And he has a business that is just huge. It's unheard of, how much money he makes each month, more than many of us make a year. But anyway, and I go, Ron, I want you play tennis every morning, you swim every afternoon, and you make bukus of money and help tons of people all over the country. I want your life. He goes, no, you want my business. And so that's what he's taught me to do is do it his simple way. But now, Ron, you're very successful now, but I know you've had to have a failure. Tell me, what was your biggest failure as a coach?
I guess was when I first started, I was so excited and enthusiastic, I was throwing up on people and telling them all about it rather than finding about them and what they wanted and look forward to. And after doing that for a couple of months and talking to, the mentorship and learning that, I'd always, in my other businesses, I'd always, ask people what they wanted and I could show them what they were going to get before they had the finished product. But here it was I was so excited. And then I just learned to, okay, sit back, talk to people, and I love doing that and finding out about what they want and where they are. And whatever, I look at that. I don't look at them as a potential client or anything else. But that was my biggest failure, just talking too much. So.
None of us can relate to that.
Well, I don't think so, but that's why I figured I'd mention it so you don't have to worry about it.
Exactly. Thank you. All right, and so tell me this. You have been in the business for almost 10 years?
10 and a half, November 2004.
What are you most proud of that you created? What are you most proud of?
The fact that I have the opportunity to empower people to take charge of their lives, not only physically and mentally, but also financially if they choose that. I mean, that to me, and when you really think about it, the people that I've touched base, that we've touched, have been going to doctors forever, been on medications like crazy, have tried everything, and they pay for that. They come to us, they don't pay us a single penny, and we help them get what they want. And when you get somebody that calls you in the middle of the afternoon and he's crying, and he said, Ron, I just left my doctor, and after 23 years, I'm no longer a diabetic. And I mean, to this day, and that happened like 8 years ago, I still get goosebumps because I never met the man, never met him at all. And yet to have the opportunity to empower him to take charge of himself, that to me is the greatest gift that we can give. It's
so
mushy,
true.
but that's the way, So.
So true, so true. What was an aha moment that you had? You've had many aha moments along the way, but what's an aha moment that you had?
When I realized I could do it. The program, I could do the coaching and build my business when I knew that I could do it. That was my biggest aha, I guess,
How did you start? Remember, I know you said that you couldn't even make a phone call to get a client. How did you start? Tell him.
Well, I didn't, but people were asking me. So Dan Bell said, Ron, anybody that you have, ask them if they're willing to do a 3-way call, and I will explain the program to them. And all I want you to do is introduce me, and then I want you to just take notes and hear how the words that I use, the verbiage I use, how I explain the program, and we'll go from there. Well, I said I could do that. So my first 4 clients, he did it. And he got everybody. And I was just so excited. He's got to keep going, because, I'm sure there's got to be a failure somewhere, but it wasn't. But he said after the 4th one, he said, Ron, it's time to fish or cut bait. You can do it. You know everything there is. And the most important thing, if you don't know everything, tell them that. But make sure you get them an answer. And that's the most powerful thing I can share with everybody. You don't want to know everything. You shouldn't have to know anything. But if someone asks you a question that you're not sure of, the most important thing you do is say, listen, I will get you the answer, and then to follow up with that answer. Again, people don't care how much you know until I know how much you care. And thank God, our business is 95% passion and 5% knowledge. And me, that's a blessing. I ain't the brightest bulb in the lamp, but I'll tell you, you give me a blueprint, you give me a plan, and I can follow that. And I will follow that. So
that's great. So that's good advice. And what was maybe one of your best pieces of advice that you've received as from your mentors? Dan, obviously, Dr. A.
To listen to people, to find out where they are and where they want to go, not where I think they should go. And I think the most important thing I learned is to listen better, and also to be interested versus interesting. And if you're interested in people, you only have to ask 1 or 2 questions, and then they're going to tell you every single thing. And they'll tell you some things you really don't want to hear also. But I think that would be my biggest, listening, and then being interested in them and caring about them.
That's so true. Whenever I've worked with you or with Dan Bell, and I hear from Dr. A, it's like, when you talk about it, it's like, okay, so what do they want? So what does this person want? What does this person want? It's never tell them to do this. It's always, well, what do they want? Yeah. So that's so right. That served me so well. So that's great.
I also, if somebody, has a question, or if I want to answer, I always ask somebody, can I make a suggestion or a recommendation? I don't think I've ever told somebody what to do, because most people hate to be told what to do. But if you ask permission of a recommendation or a suggestion, they say yes. Number one, they're more likely to listen because they gave you permission to do that. And again, you're there to help them.
That's huge, huge, huge takeaway. Write that down. Write that down. Very, very, and practice. That's a good one. All right. So you've been doing this a long time. What has you fired up right now about Take Shape for Life and what we've got?
I guess the most important thing to Chris and I is this has given us a life that we could never, ever, ever in our lives imagine. I would have been stripping until I was either dead, which would have been soon, according to Dr. Anderson, or I just couldn't work any longer. And Chris would have been making donuts because we didn't have a big retirement. We had a good life, but now we have a great life. And what fires us up is every morning we want to help everybody, not only here, but the people we haven't met, have the opportunity to have a lifestyle and a life that we have now, of doing what we want to do, when we want to do it, with who we want to do it, and not have to worry anymore. Not only with don't need any medications anymore. I know I feel great. I can do things I couldn't do before, but just that peace of mind. But having to give it to other people, you don't know what you don't know. And to just have that peace of mind that if we live to be 120, we'll never have to worry about another penny. You know what I'm saying? Because this is given to us. The other exciting thing is, if I were to stop tomorrow, it would still grow. But the fun is doing it. I'd go nuts if I didn't have anything to do. You can only play tennis 5 or 6 days a week. You can only, swim so much in the pool. You can only read so many books. But this gives us the get up and go. And it's wonderful. It's just.
That's so well said. You're so right. And, I've said that to you before. I've said, Ron, you could just, retire tomorrow and not have to worry about a thing. And yet you and Dan and Dr. A, you're all just, and many of the leaders, you're all just still as passionate and still as available and still as present. And I love that you said that you just wanted all of us to have the same thing that you did. So I've often asked you that.
Yeah. And Chris and I, when we sold our first business, we were 40 years old. We retired for 2 years. It didn't work. We retired for 2 years, started another one. At 45, retired for a year. At 50, for another year. And it just doesn't work for us. So I'm blessed for that too. That I have something to do and have fun doing it.
When did you get into? How old were you when you started Take Shape for Life? That's a good.
We were 65. 65 years young, with the zippity doodah, but age is a number. Attitude is life, in my opinion. I'm still trying to find out what I'm going to do tomorrow when I grow up.
Well, so, all right. So speaking about tomorrow, what personal daily habits do you do consistently every day, that has contributed to your success? What things do you do every day that you really feel really makes a difference in making you successful?
I try and read a little bit every day, 10, 15 minutes. But what I do is, as soon as I go out the door, I know I'm going to look for somebody to talk to just say hi to them, if nothing else. And it's amazing how just smiling and saying hi to somebody can make their day, because maybe nobody's spoken to them, maybe nobody smiled at them. Or, I've gone down the street and I whistle a lot, and I don't even know I'm whistling. People say, "Oh, that's a lovely whistle. I've never heard one like that." But it just makes them, Oh, thank you very much. And then I can just start a conversation. Oh, you live in the area, whatever, just finding out about it. And I'm not looking for any results other than to find out about it. Whether I'm at an airport or going in for a cup of coffee, wherever I'm going, just saying hi to people and see if they throw the ball back.
Well, and that's a great habit, right? Anything else? What else do you do in terms of how do you coach your clients? Do you have a system or a habit that you follow around coaching clients?
Yeah, yes, I do. I'm a firm believer, and the most important thing I do is I always ask myself, no matter what I do, I always ask myself, is it duplicatable? And I always want to make sure I respect people's time. So, like, I just started a client tonight up in Minnesota. Minnesota. But anyhow, so I just started. He got his products today, and I called him and I said, Bill, when are you ready to start? I said, tomorrow. I said, okay, great. Did you take your picture? Yep, I took your pictures like you said. Did you jump on the scale tonight? Yes, I did. Great, fantastic. So let's spend a few minutes laying out the food, and we're gonna make it so it's gonna taste good. Remember, it's not gonna be gourmet, but we're gonna spend a few minutes. So we went over about 4 or 5 minutes, and I said, okay, Bill, I'm going to call you for the next 3 evenings. Is that okay? And at what time? So I'm going to call Bill tomorrow night, like I do with every one of my clients. And I'll say, hey, Bill, how'd you do today? He said, Ron, it was okay. I said, great, Bill, I'll call you tomorrow. If Bill asks a question, I'm right there for any question. I've had people call me from a restaurant wanting to know the menu, reading the menu off to me. I'm there. But the key is I want to be effective, efficient, timely, and respect their time. So the second night I'll call him. He said, Bill, how'd it go today? He said, Ron, I made that hot cocoa, but boy, it was lumps in it. I said, Bill, remember I said we make everything with cold water. Oh, Ron, I made it with hot. I said, listen, no problem. Cold water, then heat it in the microwave. And listen, Bill, the exciting thing is by tomorrow night, the third night, you're going to be in the fat burning state. So that's exciting. In other words, I'm giving him expectations of what's going to happen. It's going to be exciting to get in the fat burning. And I explained your blood sugars are going to be a little bit more even. The spiking will be a little bit less. I said, Bill, I'm going to skip you for a few days. You have my number. You have my email. Any questions, you don't hesitate to call. But let's skip and let's call on your celebration day. What's celebration day? Well, you started today, so a week from tomorrow, a week from today, you're going to jump on the scale, and that's called our celebration day. I call on the celebration day. First question, Bill, how'd you do today? Or how'd you do this week? You hear my voice? How'd you do this week? Because I'm expecting what? Success. Great, fantastic. You lost 7 pounds. That's fantastic, man. Listen, how you feeling? He says, Ron, I feel pretty good. I say, great. Bill, are you having fun? He goes, you might hesitate a little bit. I said, well, Bill, you've been on diets before, right? He said, yeah. I said, were they fun or were they painful? He said, oh my God, they were so painful. I said, well, just look at your body. Let me know if you have any black and blues or welts on your body. Because you've been eating regularly, you're feeling good, you lost 7 pounds, are you having fun? He said, yeah, I'm having fun. For the first time, they know, what, are you crazy? But again, they know I'm having fun. I want them to know I'm having fun because I want them to have fun. Because what am I looking for? I'm looking for them to become coaches. If I'm timely, if I'm on the phone with somebody for 20 minutes and I'm trying to talk about them becoming coaches, and they say, Ron, I don't have time like you do. I said, well, Bill, how much time have I spent with you? I spend no more than 60 seconds to maybe 2 minutes. But I don't even start that 2-minute conversation until the second week. When I find out how they're doing, they're feeling good and having fun, I'm going to ask them every week 1 or 2 questions that I don't know about them or their spouse or their family. Because I'm building a dossier. I'm looking for something that's going to connect us down the road of them becoming a coach. But I'm just asking 1 or 2 questions. I write it down, but I spend no more than a minute or 2 about that. And I'm just looking for some kind of connection. And that's what I do every single week. And we have a lot of clients. We have a lot. Okay? I don't know how many you all have, but we have a lot.
And you're able to service them.
Absolutely. And all with phone. All with phone.
And I'll tell you guys how important that is, because there have been many times when I just connect with people and it becomes text. And when they're ready to transition and when I think the coaching might be a good opportunity for them, I don't know enough about them because I haven't gotten a chance to get to know them. And I find myself in a position that I have no idea if this is going to be right for them or not. And so, right?
Well, yeah, and communication. In other words, if somebody could say, I lost 3 pounds. But if I talk to them, I said, how'd you do this week? I lost 3 pounds. Great, man, fantastic. See, I can't do that on a text, or I can't do it on a, you know what I'm saying? The voice is the key. You are the magic to the business. People want to hear you. And that's, in my opinion, is key. Yes, we got all this technology. But I mean, when I see these people with technology, they don't talk, but I mean, they're not doing other than sitting down there doing all this stuff. And again, we're in a relation business. Yes,
what do you do? Because I'm sure this question is going to come up. What do you do when somebody doesn't call you back? You just leave the messages?
I would say most of them do, but I will leave them messages. And then I'll leave 2 or 3 messages. And then the following week, I'll just call and say, Bill or John or Mary, are you okay? I'm really concerned. In fact, I almost called the hospitals in the area to see if you were okay. And again, it's amazing how I'll get a call back. Again, because what? I care, right? I care about it. I don't even know them, but I care. So that's how I do it. Will they call? Some will, some won't. But yet, we have great retention. We have great referrals in our business. And any business I've ever had since I'm 25 was always built on referral and repeat businesses. And that's what you're looking for. You don't want to constantly have to look for other people, but if you get referrals and you ask for referrals, that's the way to build any business.
So if you were a new health coach today, you landed on this planet from another planet, and you're Ron, the health coach. You don't have to worry about, your bills, your food and your housing is paid for. And you have your coach kit, your new coach kit. And you have about $300 in your pocket. What would be the first thing you would do to build your business? What would be the first thing you would do?
Well, the first thing I would call my business coach or my mentor and say, listen, I would like, I want to build a business, but how do I do it? And my response would be, Bill, John, Mary, what do you want out of the business? What do you want? See, you can go and say, oh, you want to make $3,000. No, what do you want? Just like your client. When I start my client and they're 300 pounds, and I'd say, well, how tall, how much you weigh, where do you want to be? If they say I want to lose 25 pounds, I say, great. I don't say, well, your BMI charts are good. I say great, because if I can get 25, guess what? I'm going to get more. It's the same with my coaches. We spend a lot of time in the front end loading of clients. It's the same with our coaches. Sometimes we just sign up a coach and let them go. I'm in daily contact with my coaches for the first week at least, finding out what they want, and I wanted to know who's been speaking, who's been talking to you, because most of my coaches were clients first. So they've been talking to people have commented. And I want to get right on a 3-way call with them to have them get success. Not only do I want them to hear the verbiage and everything else and taking notes, but I want their friends to realize that, yes, Bill is brand new, but he's learning about coaching, and that's why his mentor, so if he comes on board down the road, he can see he's going to get the same treatment. So it's front-end loaded, working with that new client, a new coach, all the way through. You get them 4 or 5 clients, or get them the first 3 clients. They've made $150. They almost made their money back in the first week. Are they going to be excited? Yeah. And then we find out, like we do, Susan, you and I, we mentor every month, right? What do you want for this month? And then we mentor once a week of where are you going. So that's what I do, just like with my new coaches. Find out what they want. How big do they want the business? Oh, I'd like to make 3 grand. Okay, what's your time schedule for that? Tomorrow. So, well, we got a lot of work to do. See, because they saw it on a bid of 3,000, all the executive that stuff. No, we can get you started, absolutely. How about 3 or 4 clients in the first week? Can we do that? Do you have a warm market for that? Great. Why don't we do this? You call them, just introduce me. I'll edify you. I'll tell them how great a client you are. You got so excited about being a client, you wanted to pay it forward, and now we're helping we're helping his friend. And I'll do a short presentation, less than 7 minutes, including the profiling. Because again, I show them the time and the effort and how timed it is, and effective and efficient it is.
That's the best. That's the best. All right, we have 1 more minute. Does anybody have any questions for Ron? Just unmute yourself. I know it's kind of awkward to, Liz?
Hey, Ron, thanks for your information. A couple of questions. The first one is, do you ever coach anybody who's not on plan?
Personally, no. They have to be, I mean, a perfect example is Renee McLaughlin. She was teensy weensy weensy. She had to get on the program for 2 weeks. Reason, 1, credibility, most important, her credibility and her integrity. Number 1, to see what the food tastes like, to see what coaching involved and how simple it was. So that's me personally, yes.
So no, I mean a client who is, who what they want is they want to lose weight using their own food. So they want to use like chapter 10 of Dr. A's Habits of Health and do their own food.
No, because that's not duplicatable.
So what do you say to them?
I'll say, listen, Mary, if you're going to do that, why don't you try that first, see how many people you can help. And then if you want to build a business and help other people with our program that's been proven and been around for 34 years, that follows medical protocols, and the fact that all our studies are done at Johns Hopkins University and the National Institutes of Health, and we know that it's a successful program.
But I think she's talking about clients. Like if a client wanted to just do the food, would you?
Oh, okay. No, I can't. I can't help him that way. I can get him Dr. A's book, but I can't guide him through that. That's why Dr. A's book is self-taught. Mm-hmm. It's not one for me to teach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else?
You've all been so wonderful and smiling.
I know. Well, you've been so wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Very welcome. And
this has been what a treat. And thank you. And guys, like I say, Ron is always available, to you. If you have any questions or just, there's no hierarchy. There's no company. Nope. You have to go through, there's no gatekeeper. Really just know that you have this wisdom available to you who cares about you as much as I do and as much as your mentor coach does. So please know that we're all a team and we're having a lot of fun. So thank you, Ron, for
how do we get a hold of him?
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
941-932-3718.
941-932-3718.
Yes, ma'am.
Got it.
If I'm on the tennis court, leave a voicemail.
Well, maybe we should play sometime together.
Amen.
She'll be a Go Global. So
I'm not bringing my rackets to Go Global, but if you come what's that?
Will you bring it to Go Global?
No, but I'll bring it to National.
Orlando.
Yep. Okay, yes. Sure.
Tennis game. All right. Well, thanks everybody for being on the call. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you, Mike. Take care.